Yo, what's up? My name's Clarence,
And I'm DJ Nuna,
and you're listening to Up in the Air.
a podcast on our thoughts, moods, and experiences on the personal, political, and cultural world around us. Come float with us. For this week's episode, we have two lovely guests from our friends at HOMEROOM Media, Johanna and Ashley. Today we talk about the creative process behind their second issue of their print magazine, CUTFRUIT, how they navigate the intersection of creativity and social advocacy as an organization, as well as exploring the complex nature of the Asian American identity. We had such a great time chatting with our friends, and we hope you enjoy. Thanks for tuning in. Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Woo!
I'm clapping for those who are just listening on Spotify.
But yeah, we're so excited to have them. These are our friends that we've met through Homeroom, or also known as Asian Americans in Media. It's one of Clarence's first times really talking with them, so we're excited to get to know their story, what they're up to, what Homeroom is all about, with the recent drop of their second issue. But yeah, maybe one of you can start introducing yourselves. We can start with Johanna.
Hi, I'm Johanna. I use she, her pronouns. I'm 21 years old and I just got into my major like a month ago. I'm like in the steely clutches of capitalism now. I'm a business major.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
How have you been doing this quarantine that's lasted almost a year?
I feel like I don't remember anything. Like I feel like I lost so many brain cells.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
We're all just gonna black this out from our memory.
Yeah. Like in 10 years, I'm gonna like look back and I'm gonna be like, I don't even know if anything happened that year.
No, for real. Ashley, how about you?
Yeah, I'm Ashley. I use she, they pronouns. I'm studying visual communication design and American ethnic studies. I am 20 years old. I'm a baby. And yeah, during quarantine, I haven't been doing much. Like literally same, like my head is empty. I feel like I can't remember like the last 15 minutes. But I don't know, I feel like I'm like picking up more on like different like random projects, or like at least like drawing more and like trying to find ways to like spend time alone. But yeah.
No, I feel that a lot. I feel like it's really hard to do small tasks, and even when I finish them, I'm like, oh, I'm so amazing. Like, just give myself a pat on the back. But that's great to hear that you're exploring some other hobbies. I feel like, yeah, during quarantine, especially since we can't go outside as much because it's cold, it's nice to find ways to fill the time. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Once again, we're so excited. And yeah, I think we'll just go ahead and start and talk a bit about Homeroom. Maybe one of you could, for those of the listeners that don't know what Homeroom is, kind of explain what it is, what your mission is, the story.
Yeah, so Homeroom was originally Asian Americans in Media, and it was a student organization that was founded by Jubilee and some others.
Wait, what?
And I think our mission, like originally it was about like Asian American representation in media, thus AIM. But now we've like tried to sort of shift our mission more towards like we still care about like the creative part, but we're more towards like advocacy and education and just like more of that like critical thinking part, I guess.
We're trying to transition in something like more than just representation. I feel like it's more about like building community and like learning together, like educating ourselves. But yeah, and just like making a space for people. So
Beautiful.
Yeah.
How did you guys sorry, Julia.
No, you go ahead.
I'm gonna need you to stop. I'm gonna need you to stop, Julie. No, I was gonna ask you how did you two get involved with AIM and then what it is now as Homeroom?
well, I was kind of dragged in by my sister. Jubilee, Judy's been on this podcast before, but yeah, she's my sister. She and Jubilee are really good friends, and she was like, "You should join this club," because I did like journalism in high school, and I was like, "Oh my god, I love like magazines. Like I'm a zine girl," and like my sister was like, "Maybe you'd like this thing." So I joined because I heard there was also spam Misubis, and I was like, "Okay, let me give this a shot." Didn't really know anyone there. But yeah, I was just like a lost freshman trying to find like something to do, somewhere to belong. And AIM was that space for me. So.
Yay! I remember that Spam Musubi meeting. We were so nervous that no one was gonna come and that we would just have like 40 Musubis.
We all had hella Misubis.
Yeah.
I think for me, like one of my friends at the time was like thinking about doing design. He was like, someone I know is an officer for this club, and I was like, oh, we should go, because like obviously I feel like when you're a freshman, like you want to try like everything. And then I just like came to a meeting, and I was also involved in journalism in high school, so I was like, maybe I can write for the magazine. And then I did. And yeah.
Hey, secured the bag. No, yeah. I remember that first meeting, our first meeting like at the start of the year of, was it 2018, I
Yeah.
believe? Yeah, and so it's really special because we started in the spring of 2018, but it had a pretty slow start. But then, so Johanna and Ashley have basically been with Homeroom basically since the beginning and have transitioned over the years. It's wild to think that it's been 2 years. Yeah, and so now Johanna is the president and Ashley is vice president. So it's really exciting to see their growth. And also, wait, Johanna was a secretary last year, and Ashley was design director last year. So they're starting their third year. And
So you guys are just calling the shots now. I see
mm-hmm.
it. I see it. How do you guys come up with the name? The kind of this theme that you have now.
I think like over the summer, we were like, we want to rebrand because it's something we've talked about since like last year. So I don't know, we just like, I sort of like wrote up a brief and then we like planned it out, and then we had like an ideation session with like the old officers and the new officers. And then I think I don't know, we just ended up deciding on homeroom because I guess like when I thought of the name, I was thinking like a space where we can like learn and grow together, a place for community, and like I don't know, just like we wanted like a space that's like warm but like also like oriented towards growth. I don't know.
No, for real. I think Johanna pitched a lot of really good name ideas during that ideation session. And we had, I don't know, there was like a lot of things that, like, I think the other top tier option was Monsoon. So it's like way different than Homeroom. So.
Yeah, I feel like when I think about homeroom, I mean, in high school, luckily I had a good homeroom. I feel like some other people like had terrible homerooms, but like my teacher is super chill. So whenever I saw the name, I was like, oh yeah, like I kind of have this nice connotation with the name. So well, well thought out. I love it.
I hope no one got bullied in their homeroom.
See the
Or
names,
have,
they're like, flashbacks.
Wait, my homeroom teacher like bullied all of us in high school. She would just like yell at us every day. I'm like, I love this.
Dude, I keep seeing tweets where it's like teachers, because teachers would like fight with students or like bully students, and it's like, what do you want from me? I'm 12. I'm like,
Bro, at my high school, someone like they would like fist fight or like wrestle with with teachers.
teacher?
Yeah.
It's like 7 a.m. You're like wrestling.
Yeah, it would be like PE at like 8:30, and then they're just like wrestling, and I'm like, bro, like we haven't even done stretches yet. Like I haven't even said my first word yet today.
It's like that TikTok meme that's like, I woke up and chose violence.
No, for real.
Literally.
No one should even talk in the mornings, honestly. But
I
here we are.
know.
though. I think just the like bullying period is just a weird concept. Like, why are you so mad I'm ugly? Like, but yeah, Ashley, how was the rebranding process for you since Ashley was serving as design director, so Ashley was really involved in like shifting the visual language to match the name. But how was that for you?
Um, I felt like I was a lot more hands off with like the rebranding process, just because we were like introducing. I'm so sorry about the car alarm.
Oh no. Good.
Love the aesthetic, you know.
Yeah, city vibes. But yeah, so a lot of the rebranding, like I I like delegated to Lavi. Like she was in charge of a lot of it, and I was just kind of there to like tell her about like my experience with kind of like trying to give AIM a brand and like the process with like the zine and things like that. And I feel like we kind of work together a lot with like crit and things like that and like different like IG posts. But it was really fun working with like I love working with the old offices, but like getting to like work with new people too. And like I think while we were like IDing on Figma and like, you know, crying, trying to do it's also like a good time for us to like kind of like talk to each other more and like build that bond too. And so that I feel like that was like my favorite part of rebranding was to like I've known Tina and Lavi before, but like working alongside both of them when working on our assets or working on the rebranding was really fun.
That's
No,
fire.
yeah. I think it's really nice that because at the second issue launch we kind of had a section for the OG officers, but this is the first year where it's completely just a fresh generation of officers. So I think the rebranding is really fitting because it's kind of like a somewhat clean slate. I mean, like same community, but I'm glad to have all of you bond over that too because I mean, Clarence, I think maybe you've met Lavi. Lavi's super talented and is the current design director. Um, and yeah, I love Tina, so talented. Shout out. We wanted to have like everyone on, but we also thought that might be like 10 people.
Logistically. Yeah, I was gonna ask too, like, you know, you two were on the team before pre-COVID. And so having kind of been on the team now, working throughout the summer and during this quarter, like how has that been online? And yeah, you mentioned Figma, Ashley. That's something that Jubilee and I have done a lot, and like also hosting online events is super tough, you know, obviously. So kind of talk about that and how you guys dealt with that.
Yeah.
I think
We go ahead.
I think like honestly like there's nothing I want more than to like be in person because I think it's really hard to have like meetings online. And like I think like some of the officers I realize like I haven't like met them in person yet. Like Tara I haven't met in person. Lavi I met in person like 2 weeks ago. But I think it's just like hard to like make people feel comfortable. Like you're just putting like a bunch of random people together like in a Zoom call and you're just like trying to make them feel comfortable. And I think like that's kind of hard. Um but like I think I'm like really glad that like the people that I'm doing this with in the pandemic is the team that I have right now because I think like they work really hard and they like try to like do their best for everything. So I'm really like grateful for that.
Yeah, I feel like Johanna and I always like we always talk about our dreams for like team bonding. We're like, oh my god, let's do this for team bonding, or like, oh yeah, if we meet in person, maybe we can do this for team bonding, or things like that. Like I feel like we want so bad to like meet up with our team in person and like be able to bond with them on like past Zoom because I feel like it's like how many of us are there? There's a lot of us too. So like when we are in a Zoom call, like someone's like in a car or like someone's internet is coming out. So I feel like no, I totally agree. Like I wish like we could meet in person and like I feel like in terms of like events though, like we've always kind of had our events like on a majority of our events online. we had like the shoot and like going to or the photo shoot thing at Freeway Park and the museum, like going to the museum all together, and like I feel like it feels like a dream, like thinking about like in event or in-person events. But I don't know, we're trying to make the most out of the ones online, and I feel like they're fun and like a good space for people to like take a break or like take a breather. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that like it's super hard to even pull that off, you know. So kudos to you guys for doing that and pulling your community together. I think like keeping engagement too online is good lord.
Bruh, I mean, Clarence and I have shifted into arts and entertainment, and we have volunteer meetings, and sometimes there's like maybe 15, and we're like, oh my gosh. But then one time we had literally like two people. And so it's awkward, like, you know, saying a question into the void and no one answers you, and you're like, this is the worst thing ever. But I've been honestly really impressed with Homeroom's online engagement. And that's kind of a good segue to the launch party, because I know y'all had to completely shift that to remote. When we shifted our magazine timeline, we really thought that we would be in person by the fall. That was kind of way too optimistic. But yeah, how was the launch party? And um maybe give an overview of the magazine too for the people that aren't familiar with it.
Have a coffee.
Oh my gosh, me too.
Those are my hands.
Beautiful.
Hand model.
Great hands.
It's beautiful.
Putting this magazine together was crazy. I feel like so when I look at the pages, like I think about the process of like how like we got certain images, or like us at like actually designing the layout. It was really fun because the design committee was like made up of like 5 people aside from the leads, and like just seeing them all like working, they're also like so talented people, and then like seeing all their work come together like compiled in a magazine was just like so fulfilling in the end. I don't know about y'all, but compiling a magazine like in InDesign, that is painful work. And so like doing page numbers and stuff, I was like, what is an A master? Like putting it together, it was like kind of scary too, because like we were approaching, like we're getting so close to our deadline, and like we're also thinking about the launch party, and I feel like there was just so much like to think about and like do, but I feel like it was all like really worth it, and I feel like there was a lot that everyone kind of learned from the process too, and like seeing people's layouts like grow, at least for me too, because like when I first made a layout, I'd be like, oh damn, that looks weird. But then like seeing like, or like getting credit from each other, getting like feedback from each other, it was so nice to just like see how much like our page layouts grew and how we grew. But yeah, I think like the magazine was a painful experience, but like it's so worth it at the end too.
Yeah, so ditto to everything Ashley said. I think there's like a really like specific type of satisfaction when you like you see a project through, and like you know that so many people put like care and consideration into it. I think like for the launch party, we were actually surprised like so many people came out, because I remember like halfway through the quarter we were like, how are we gonna make people come to an online party? Like how do we make them not be bored during the party? But I think like around like 60 people came out. I think Tara and I worked on like coming up with an agenda, and I emailed like a bunch of people and was like, hey, do you mind showing your work at our launch party? And I was actually like I'm always like super surprised by like people's kindness and like their willingness to support, because I think like a couple filmmakers like came out, or they were like willing to let us use their film, and then also like Troy Osaki, and then like Brenda Chi and all those people. I think I was like really especially surprised for like the makers of like the short film Dive Bar, because I didn't know them like at all. Like I emailed them out of like nowhere, and I was like, hey, Do you mind letting us like show your film at our party? And they were like, oh yeah, like, and we want to come and we want to buy your magazine. And I was like, damn.
Wait,
But yeah,
dude,
I
they
think
were
like,
so nice.
yeah, having that support is just like, I don't know, it's just so surprising and like it's so nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, shout out to Johanna for like orchestrating the whole like thing. Like
For
she
real.
was like, you know, in like the plays and stuff, the tech back. That was Johanna. Like she was the puppet
It's
master.
like the equations just like
Yeah.
flying by.
Crazy.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think like partway through the party, like Simon was like screen sharing, but his computer died. Well, first of all, he was like, I think the Wi-Fi at my apartment is kind of sus. So I was like, oh, just come over and use my Wi-Fi. And then he came over, he's like, I forgot my charger, but it's probably fine. It like wasn't fine. Like but it's over. It's like it went okay.
I'm just imagining him like running, like with his laptop in hand, and then our other friend Hannah had to take over the screen sharing responsibilities. But honestly, I was so impressed because they sent me like the full schedule, and the times were kind of, they're like 8 or like 7:47, 8:53, or sorry, not 8:53, but it was like to the dot, honestly, throughout, even with the technical difficulties and stuff. So I was so amazed. And for real, I think I was just so impressed by all the films that were shown. I think the first one made me cry. Like the one with the mask. That one just really hit for some reason.
I feel like just like back-to-back tears.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
for
as we just
real.
cried harder.
Yeah, like I was like still recovering from the first one, and the third one hit, and I was like,
No, for real. And I was just, yeah, so happy to see that they just stuck around even after showing their film, and we're just here to learn the stories and hear the interviews. I feel like, yeah, talking over Zoom can be tricky, and I think the conversation with the officers, I was like, I can't see where everyone's at, but I don't know. It was so fun, and it obviously is different than the last launch party we had, but I still felt like after the call ended, I was like, I felt really warm inside to see all those people. So y'all did a great job. Yeah. And Ashley, shout out to you for compiling. Like Clarence and I really got familiar with InDesign this quarter with pub design, and that shit exporting that fat file.
Dude, I have like a MacBook Air too that has like not a lot of storage. I literally just bought a drive too after
That
compiling
changes
the
your
magazine.
life.
That was like
dude, that
never.
like post-quarter, like putting everything onto your drive, that is one of the best feelings. You just
Yeah.
take everything off your laptop and put it there. It's
My
fantastic.
desktop is a nightmare. I have it, that setting where it categorizes by like the type of file, but I accidentally undid that, and I was like, oh my gosh. Dude, yeah. And Johanna and I were in charge of like ordering the magazine. Man, I mean, shout out to Printing Company USA, but it was kind of difficult at first. But magazines came out beautifully. They came on time. We were hella stressed. This happens like okay. There's only been one other year, but it happened last year where we were like, "Is it gonna come in on time?" So shout out to y'all. But I think in terms of the future and your goals and your dreams for the future, how do you want to see homeroom, like are there any tangible goals that y'all want to meet? Are there any events that you'd like to host in the future? I think this past year my favorite event that Ashley was part of hosting was the Women Made by Women event, where we were all like doing our own craft or our makeup or nails on a Zoom call, and it still felt really comforting as if you were like physically with people. So yeah, just want to hear about your goals for the future.
I'm thinking.
Hmm.
We're like, no, we don't have any goals.
Like, yeah, we peaked right now. This
No
is a peak. This is
thoughts.
all we're gonna do.
I think for me, like when Johanna and I first became like president and vice president, we both really were like, let's do this event planning, like let's do programming, like for sure, like that's something we want to continue from summer. And like my hope is that, like, you know, once we're able to like see people in person, I feel like a lot of that's where my dreams are at right now, like meeting people in person, seeing people in person. Like I want to do something big, like I don't know, like I feel like I love the vibes of like the launch party, especially from like the first year too, like when it was in person, and like a lot of people who like support all of us like came through, and it just felt like a party, you know. Like I want something similar to that, like but instead of like the launch party, it could be something casual too, like, or just like something that happens more often. Honestly, I just like think so much about like having events in person and like being able to meet new people, like having space for people to like showcase their work, and that isn't virtual, just because I feel like I'm just so sick of it. Like it's hard to like have like crazy dreams when like all you really want is like to hug your friend or like meet new people in person, you know. But yeah, I also kind of hope like homeroom like expands more too, like I feel like we always get like such a great like group of people too, like who like truly care about their craft, truly care about like the goal, like the shared goal that we all have. And yeah, I just want to see like homeroom grow like past like, you know, me and Johanna's time. We always talk about like who is the next generation, like who are we gonna pass this child like baby onto. And so yeah, just like being able to see homeroom grow in that way.
That's wild to think that whoever the next set of officers will be, maybe you will never meet them in person like during that decision process. But no, Ashley, that's for real. I think when I watch movies now, it's just bizarre to me that we were ever just hugging not strangers, but like breathing the same air as strangers. And hopefully we're making it there, like surely but slowly. The vaccine is finally in the US. So, but yeah, I'm excited because I mean, honestly, I feel like your virtual programming has been really great. And so I'm excited to see where in-person programming goes for y'all when the time comes. But yeah, how about you, Johanna?
Yeah, I think like I don't know if I have like very specific tangible like events or projects that I want homeroom to pursue, but I think like I always want like the people to come after to like try different things. Because I think like honestly, I think that's like the best way to learn and grow. I think like I think this past year like summer programming was new, right? But yeah, I think like I really enjoyed it, and I think it was like a really good learning experience, especially with the book club. And I think I probably want to do another book club again this summer. Something I should talk about with the officers, but I think yeah, I think like overall, like same as Ashley, like I want to do, for me personally, like I want to do more of like the events and the programming and more of like people being together and having a good time. But I think like I guess values wise, I want like homeroom to be somewhere where like it can sort of like burst that like comfortable Asian American bubble, I guess. Because I think it's like really easy to sort of like be comfortable. But I want it to be a space where we can like critically think and like hold each other accountable. And like I feel like this is like my nice way of saying like I want them to be radicalized a little bit. But yeah.
No, for real. I think that was another question that I had for y'all on what you think Asian Americana is. And that's something that I was asked recently. And I was like, oh, I didn't know I was going to be asked that. Because I think, especially after this summer, with the new programming, with the book club, there were lots of really fruitful conversations on identity and the world around us. But I think in terms of Asian American identity, it's something that's with everyone else, but it's constantly changing, evolving. It's not just boba and raves and shit like that. But I was wondering like what at this point in your lives, like what you perceive your Asian American identity to be. Yeah. It's
A
kind of
loaded question, huh?
it's tricky though. I was like, but
Yeah.
Maybe to preface it too, like I feel like for me in high school, I didn't learn a lot about, or I guess like throughout my schooling, I didn't learn a lot about like Asian American history. And I went to a predominantly white high school, and so that was kind of tough to like find that sort of connection to my identity, and even just accepting who I am and like being prideful of that. Um, but coming to UW, like it was really eye opening to be able to go to these classes, like AES classes, AAS classes, to study about like my people's culture and like other Asian American identities. And um Ashley, I know you mentioned that you are double majoring or minoring in AES.
I'm trying to. You know how design.
That's a grind. That's a grind. I mean, I'm a diversity minor, and I just finished, so that was terrific. But yeah, it's like it's such an honor and like really just a privilege to be able to study that type of thing. So I guess like how did you guys get introduced to sort of this whole like world of conversation about identity?
I feel like I like bring this up like every 2 seconds, but like I'm from Eastern Washington, so I grew up around white people and like conservatives. And I think like I've heard every like racist joke. I've been like accosted in public. Like I've like that shit doesn't faze me anymore. Like but I was like never allowed to like forget that I was Asian, I guess, because of the environment that I grew up in. But yeah, I think like when I came to UW, it was really crazy because I was like, I'm in a room full of Asian people. This is crazy. But I think like something I yearned for just because I never had it was to have like an Asian community to be with. And I think like my freshman year, like I almost joined like the Taiwanese Student Association. But I think like a lot of Asian community, like I don't know if there's like there isn't one definition for like an Asian community. And I think like I really idealize um like the idea of only having like a unified Asian community, which like now I don't think can like probably ever exist. Um I think like even in like progressive Asian circles, I think a lot of it is like what Juby said, like boba liberalism. Like they take like white liberal politics and sort of like try to make it their own, which like doesn't work. Like it's not the truth for like our identity at least. I think like my view of like Asian Americana or like the Asian American identity that like I want or I think like all Asian Americans should be striving for is like anti-imperialist, anti-colonialist, just like one where we don't have to like lean into our Americanness or like our proximity to whiteness to like I don't know, like to feel like a sense of belonging. I don't know. I think like we need to be like super critical of that because I think like in a lot of like Asian American circles, it is still like I mean, it's super divided. There's like a lot of Asian conservatives, but I just think like we need to like separate from whiteness, I guess.
No, yeah. I feel like you put that so beautifully. I'm like, how do I talk? Uh, I I agree. We're like I'm still grappling with like what Asian American identity is or means, especially to me. Because I feel like I don't want us to like be represented like as a monolith either. And I feel like there's so much like that I don't want to like identify with that a lot of the Asian community does, like what you're mentioning, like proximity to whiteness, like just like boba liberalism in general. And so I feel like it's an ongoing question. Like this is like a lot of what we talked about in book club. Just in case we have one, like tune in. But we had a lot of like good conversation about that. Like, what does being Asian American even mean? And like, how can you like, I don't know how to word this, but like, how can you like kind of separate yourself from like trying to be white or like wanting to be white and thinking just to like get that sense of like approval or like that you fit in kind of thing. But yeah, I feel like it's still something that I like can't fully understand, and I feel like being a part of homeroom has helped like shaped kind of like my thoughts around it. I'm like grappling with, still something I'm like trying to like understand, and I feel like a lot of people are too. But yeah, I feel like homeroom is a great space to like critically think more about this topic, and like have people to like talk to about it with, if that makes sense, or like have a community to kind of share that with.
No, yeah, I think that's a really, both of y'all had really great answers because, yeah, definitely in that book club, we were like, who are we? Like, are we just like trying to seek white validation constantly without knowing? And because Clarence and I grew up in similar, well, not similar environments, but he grew up in a all guys, predominantly white school. That is like even more toxic. So like private school, and I grew up some like maybe not similar to Johanna, but in a white school, and that really stunted my, well, I wouldn't say it stunted my growth, but it gave me like misconceptions about my identity because I was constantly being fed on like what it means to be Asian, or it was interesting because a lot of my close friends growing up were actually a lot of adopted Asian girls, which is kind of like weird to think about because all these white families are like adopting from China. But I think that was like an interesting experience as well because we were all just navigating like these huge predominantly white friend groups and being taught by white teachers. We talked a lot about how fucked up our education and our curriculum is, and how even standards of like authority or respect are very rooted in white supremacy. So honestly, that's all facts. And I think if you guys host another book club, everyone should go. I learned so much from that. And Johanna and I were both like, well, this is our first book club, but I guess we have to host it. So yeah.
Juby, I remember we were trying to come up with those Instagram assets. I forgot what topic it was on, but like I remember the design leads were trying to like make it together, and like we were just like, what does Asian American even mean? And like we were having like an existential crisis that night. I don't know if you remember, but like I just started thinking about it when you're talking.
Was it with Brian and Kyle?
Yeah, and like they were confusing us more. We're like, who are we?
Okay. Because that is another thing I really enjoyed about the space, is because I guess like the bottom line of everyone that's present is that they're eager to participate and eager to learn. But I think it's also good that it's not fully like an echo chamber, because I think there were like people not like debating, but like just challenging ideas, and but humbly like learning and being like, oh, actually I was wrong or something. So I think that was honestly the most ideal space to be talking, like to feel safe, but also to share your ideas and to be taught and to unlearn and stuff like that. So I remember that night. Shout out to Figma. Nothing would get done ever if there wasn't Figma, for designers at least. So dang. Yeah. I mean, Clarence, what does it mean to you?
That's a good question. I was like, please don't ask me. No, I think something that I've been sort of like pondering a lot is how, when my family is originally from Hong Kong, and so like when I would go to Hong Kong with my family to visit our other relatives, and like we used to live there. Like I was born here and I lived there for like 4 or 5 years as a kid, and going back, they're like, oh, like you're so American, and like it's just the idea of being Asian American is such a difficult thing to deal with, because here in America they're like, oh, you're Asian, and not necessarily American. So in both like sort of countries, in both environments, culturally, I don't really feel like I'm a part of it. And so I think being Asian American is almost like being in limbo. You're kind of between the two words and between the two identities. So, I mean, for me, I don't think I'll ever really figure it out. Like it's always just like I'm constantly learning to do that and like
You're just floating
filling the shoes. I'm
You're
just
up in
floating
the
around like
air.
up in the air. I hate that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Asian Americans, I feel like, yeah, it's just the definition shifts every so often, you know. Like now I'm like, oh, it seems like it's a clear picture, but I don't know, who knows? Later down the road I'll be like, I don't know who I am anymore.
For real. Because even if we think about when Angelina, Matt, Kyle, and I, when we started homeroom, our our perception of Asian American identity and representation was so two-dimensional, and I think that was kind of the start of seeing more Asian faces in popular media and entertainment. But looking back at like 2 years from now, it's really great to see how much growth there's been, but also kind of disappointing that like that was, the bar of that was an acceptable, standard, because it was so unrepresentative. Like literally Crazy Rich Asians, that was kind of whack, honestly. No, just kidding. it was like still, a shift, but
Bro,
I'm
I
so
literally feel like watching that. I'm like, it's me on screen, and I go home and I'm like, wait, that's
I'm not
not me on
rich.
screen. I'm like, I'm nowhere near as rich as they are. Like that's impossible.
I'm good. This is so funny, but we had a article written about AIM that was titled "Crazy or Rich or Sane or Poor" or something like that, and we were like, "Damn, this is nice."
Like,
No, yeah, but I think it's really great to see. We keep saying growth, but for real, I think from 2 years ago, like during the launch party, we were asked like, was homeroom or AIM what you expected it to turn out to be? And I really did answer like it turned out even better than I ever thought it could be. We really thought it was just going to be kind of more of a friend group thing, and it still is in some kind of ways, but um it's just been really great to see new faces and see them stick around. Like I'm really encouraged for you all because you guys were like the new faces and now you're the faces. No, but like now y'all have stuck around. So I'm just excited for y'all, and I hope you have another book club in the future too.
Wait, I think there was like at some point during the launch party, I was getting like hella emo because I was like, the founders are here, like the old members are here, like, people from book club. There's like the new officer team. There's like our future members. I'm like, everyone's here.
Dude,
like
I
a
think
family reunion. Oh, sorry.
no, it was. I was just gonna say that too, but for real, bonding has been really limited for our team. Like I think we played Among Us once, and Ashley, Brian, and Kyle and I went to Vancouver, and that was fun bonding. Ashley was such a little baby. I think you were just 19, right?
I like just turned 19.
So it was just the legal age.
She's like, turn up.
No, for real. I think I was 20 at the time, and then Brian and Kyle were both legal. I don't know. Brian's old too, I think. But I look
Just this age shaming us. Come on.
Clarence is an old man, but no, yeah, I think we are heading in towards our time. But we really love to end every episode with a song of the week. And this is just a song that has carried you through the week and has been there for you during tough times. But maybe, Clarence, would you like to start? And then we can.
No.
And then-
I'm
Wait,
like,
you want me to start?
yes, please.
Okay. Well, I mentioned this in this other episode that we recorded that hasn't been released yet, but I brought up the playlist that we have. That Johanna and Ashley Clarence are the ones that have the collaborative playlist with, and it's called Just Yearning, and it's actually such a good playlist. Like I really do listen to it when I'm working or when I'm just walking and reflecting on life. So I want to share my favorite song from that playlist is Oh my goodness. Why is the name slipping from my brain? But it's by the Bahamas. Have y'all heard that song? All I've Ever Known. It's
Wait,
actually,
I was gonna say that's also my favorite song from that playlist.
dude, it's so sad. It just hits. It just like hits me.
Jubilee every night, just like going to bed. She's like, I'm gonna listen to something sad.
For real, it just like hits you with a wave. It's like it is sad, but I think when we made the playlist, we described it as like thankful but sad type of feeling. Basically bittersweet. So everyone check it out. It's called Just Yearning. The little raccoon is the picture. it's,
Oh my god.
it's so cute.
I will definitely listen to that after this.
Alright, you got it.
Okay, I'm ready now.
Go for it.
I have two. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I've been listening to this new podcast with Pharrell called Other Town. Is him this guy named God, I can't even say the other two guys' name. I can't remember. But anyways, they had Anya Taylor-Joy recently for an episode from Queen's Gambit, and it was just so interesting. Like they talked about a lot of things that weren't about the show, you know, like about spirituality and like their relationship with sleep. It's very interesting. So, and I think like, you know, Pharrell, like it's one of my, you know, idols, I guess. So it was really cool to listen to that. But for a song, this is gonna seem like random, but I've been listening to like country.
Fuck.
I fuck with Chris Stapleton, bro. Like he's the country artist that I don't remember where he's from, but like he's done a lot of collaborations with, you know, Justin Timberlake. So if you guys are, you know, have heard like Say Something by Justin, that's like one of the big songs that kind of broke him into the more like pop country um genre. But a song called What Are You Listening To by him, it's really good. It's just I don't know, it gets you in a different type of mood, you know? Like
Definitely.
I sometimes I'm just kind of tired of like the boom bap, like
The boom
uh
clap.
the rapping and just, you know, like the vibes are too tough. So just to switch up the swag, you know, you gotta listen
I'm
to some country.
I'm always just so Clarence always surprises me with his music taste. Like I bring this up a lot, but sometimes he's like listening to Shawn Mendes or like for like 4 hours or one
Okay,
time
wait, what's with this Shawn Mendes slander, bro? Damn.
and I think one time I was in the car with Clarence and his homie Jordan and they're like, "Oh, you got to listen to this new or this Justin Timberlake song." And I was just in the back like, "The fuck is
Yo,
this?"
I remember it so clearly, like us
You guys
turning
are
it
like,
on and we're like, and then Julie's just like in the back, like
I didn't even
it's
know
just like
Clarence that
so
well.
uncomfortable.
I didn't know him that well, but that was like a good example of country pop, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Justin is kind of like he's like an oddball. He kind of just whatever genre. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. Pop country is kind of slapping, bro. Like
Wait, do you
sometimes
remember the name of that one song I was referring to? The one
I
that
think
you
it's Waves, Waves by Justin
y'all
Timberlake.
should listen and let us know what you think because it was definitely fun, but I was surprised that they were like, yeah.
Bro, I think like I really appreciate music that's kind of just like genre bending in a way, you know, because there's just so it's hard to create original music. I think nowadays, you know, like when you listen to something that really just takes you to a different place. Like when I listened to Alaska by Maggie Rogers, I was like, whoa, that's crazy, you know. So it's very rare that that type of shit happens, and when it does, I'm like, that's that's crazy. That's
Slap.
fire. But anyways, enough from me.
Wait,
Johanna,
I
do you
have
want
a
to go?
question.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, so since you guys were like originally sort of like a music like radio show, right? So
Mhm.
like what how do you define like good music taste?
Oh man.
Clarence, you go first. I have strong opinions about this.
Okay, well, I try my best not to judge people's like music taste, you know, because I think there's a lot of like there's definitely a reason why they like the music they listen to. You know, like either something that they grew up with, so they kind of have that connotation with like their childhood, their upbringing. Um, but I think when people are like reluctant to listen to other music, or like they just hate on it just to hate on it, um, I don't like that. Like I think it's not necessarily like what is good music taste, but just like having like a palette and like being able to say like, oh, I don't like this song because like thematically it's weird, or it's just like sonically it's not something I vibe with. Like I get that, but sometimes people are like, I don't like it just because like, oh, it's too loud. Like I don't know, it's just weird. um,
Yeah, the fuck.
yeah, I don't like haters just because they want to be haters. I'll say
Mm-hmm.
that.
And we know where the biggest haters are. Just kidding. I was referring to the indie scene, but I feel like indie people are always hating on like my music taste because we talked about it with Ashley and Johanna, but it's like, oh, you listen to Meg Thee Stallion, the fuck? Like, I don't get why there's such a, I don't know. I feel like they just deem it as like rap pop and they're like, ugh, not,
Basic. They say
not,
basic a lot.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
normal music. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Like,
good.
I genuinely I saw a TikTok on this. It's like because there's a lot of men that like to hate on women for being basic, but it's like who even defines what basic is? Men, and it's like it's not up to their standards of taste, their immaculate taste, which is kind of dumb. I would say, okay, this I'm just messing around, but I will judge you if you like actually listen to Taylor Swift, like seriously. Sorry,
You're like I'm joking, but not really.
but I think I genuinely don't think there's such thing as good music taste, and I don't think anyone should be treated differently for their music taste or feel shame because music is something, yeah, what Clarence said, it's expressive. It is a result of your upbringing. Like you sometimes you listen to what the people around you listen to, but sometimes you don't listen to the things that people around you listen to and you find your own taste. So I think it's really special, like even seeing everyone's Spotify Wrapped, I really liked to see how it ranged a lot. I think, yeah, there's some, I saw this one guy that I would not expect him to listen to like Fifth Harmony, but that was their top artist.
Wow,
I
that's
didn't
fire.
even know they were still making music. But I think, yeah, like everything in the world, music taste is very subjective. And I think Clarence and I are really mood based listeners. So when we were creating playlists for the show, it would be honestly quite cohesive, thankfully. Like sometimes we listen back to old playlists and we're like, that actually was a pretty nice.
Yeah, there will be some playlists that were like, it's kind of I don't know,
All
like
over the place. Yeah.
yeah, but then like some of them were like, whoa, that was crazy. Like
Mhm.
it really does kind of show that, especially that week, we were like mentally aligned. Like maybe we're both like struggling in class. We're like, okay, like this is how we're feeling.
The
So
final stretch.
yeah,
No.
yeah,
But yeah, I think for the most part, I yeah, I just don't think the Taylor Swift thing was a joke. I'm not gonna be like you have horrible music taste, but it's more so like as long as you own it and you're not just like trying to bandwagon. Okay, even bandwagoning, that's whatever. I don't have much opinions about it, but just like own your music taste, and I think that's a good music taste as long as you feel like it expresses who you are. So yeah.
yeah. I will also add like sometimes it's not like whether or not someone has bad music taste, if it's just like you don't like the song, or like the music that they've made. Like I think Taylor Swift has definitely made some bangers. Like that's no joke. And um
22.
I mean, and also like I can totally like it's crazy, but like I appreciate how she's like almost perfected the pop country or
Hmm.
pop music like formula. Like she can just
She kind of
it's
defined
like
it. Yeah.
it's like Drake putting out music. Like, she's like the Taylor Swift or the Drake
Is
or
Taylor
pop.
Swift. Oh yeah.
So it's like I can appreciate that. Like
Mhm.
them kind of figuring out their style and like pumping out fucking hella songs. The surprise album, like,
Mhm.
okay.
Wait, I'm so dead. I'm thinking about Camp Flog Gnaw when Drake came out and all of Tyler the Creator's fans were like booing him. And it's like, yeah, Tyler the Creator fans definitely think they have the best taste and judge people. So
That's what I hate that. I hate the fact that like I hate the
crazy
fact that like
like that.
I know. I was just like, you can't even like Drake is definitely one of the biggest artists of the generation, and like
Mhm.
you can't deny that. And to hate on him, that's fucked up.
I think it's like it's okay to feel like kind of sad that it wasn't Frank, but then it just kept like boo, like just kept going. So
When he was like, if you guys want me to continue, like I will, and they're like, no. Oh man.
damn.
Okay, this has derailed. um, Johanna, would you like to share your song of the week?
Yeah, so I've been listening to this new album by Sunset Roller Coaster called Soft Storm, and I think the song that I like from that album is called Candlelight.
Ah, beautiful. I'll have to
What
listen.
what genre is that?
It's
Uh,
like it's like it's like I don't know music genres well, but like I think it's more it leans sort of indie. It's like a Taiwanese band, like a Taiwanese
Oh,
American
dope.
band. I don't know. But they have like guitar music and it's like a band. I don't know.
That's dope. Yeah, I want to try to listen to music from other like countries more because I uh like a guilty pleasure, not really guilty, but I like to listen to like canto pop because I think like
Yeah.
it's like so like triumphant, you know? Like it's crazy
Yeah.
how like when the bridge hits, you're like, oh my god.
So I feel like every like Chinese pop song sounds the same, but like I just keep going back.
Yeah, but it just like hits every time. You're like, oh my god, it's so great. But perfect. Ashley, do you wanna finish it off?
Yeah, I don't know if y'all have been seeing me like scrambling, trying to be like, what have I been listening
Just
to?
going through your Spotify,
I know I'm like,
like
but I feel like lately I've been trying to just because like finals week I was like goodbye world. I'm trying to like come back into the world, and so I'm finally listening to Kid Cudi's album like all the way through, and I feel like I still just really like the song Tequila Shots, like you know.
Bro, that song is such a banger. Oh my god.
I feel like I'm ascending from Earth, and I'm like, okay, bye.
Dude, literally, it's funny how like the first song is kind of the intro and it's like you're taking off in a way,
Mhm.
and then it goes to tequila shots. Oh my god, crazy.
You're like, bye, world.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
No, I was telling Jubilee, I guess like when the album came out, because like it's a big deal that his album came out. It's been 10 years since the second one, and then Taylor Swift goes ahead and like drops her surprise album, and I was like, "Don't you dare steal the spotlight away from Kid
No, that's why
Cudi!"
when y'all brought up Taylor Swift, I was like, hmm. Nope.
So yeah, so I was just like, "Fuck!" Like I wish you didn't do that, because I know that people like were crazy over her album, but you know, Kid
Yeah.
Cudi shit was
Honestly,
crazy.
Taylor Swift just gives me some not good flashbacks to my youth because all my friends were like, "You don't listen to Taylor." I listen to Taylor Swift, but more because of peer pressure. I feel
You were
listen to
bullied
Taylor
into it, and
Swift.
Dramatic.
yeah,
But I think she's grown as a person because she used to have some kind of problematic views on feminism. So, anyways, but everyone, thank you so much for sharing your songs of the week and just for sharing your honest experiences with homeroom and the growth that you want to see as you continue, as well as just the amazing projects that you've worked on. We're so excited to continue to support you all. I'm not sure, are magazine orders still going on? Like, can people still get an issue?
We closed the orders, but if you're from South Seattle, we're gonna have an event in January to sell our last 20 magazines.
Oh shit, it's hella limited edition.
can
Yay.
you sign it?
We
That'd be fire if you
need
guys
to
just
make
all
most
signed it.
Have a signing desk, like all 10 officers, they just go down the line.
You're like, who the fuck are you?
No, you do treat it like a yearbook or something, and then just
Oh, that's cute.
write messages.
Homeroom.
Yeah.
Dude, I was looking at my copy of This Is Not a T-shirt by Bobby Hundreds, and all he wrote was thanks. I was like, thank you. But
And then you're like, oh my god, he said thanks.
but yeah, thank you again, everyone. Check out their socials as well as the Homeroom social media platforms. Thank you for tuning in, and we will talk to you all next week. Peace.
Peace.